I'm going to tell you a story. This is the story of two men who have lived in a dark cave their whole lives. All they've ever known was the darkness. The first man is content with this life. He never ventures off into the unknown. The second man, however, wonders if he's really reaching his true potential. He ventures off and finds a way out of the cave, and he falls upon all the glory that the world actually has to offer him. So what kind of company is New Balance going to be? Are we going to be like the first man, stagnant and dying off out of the marketplace because we're afraid of the unknown? Or are we going to be like the second man, willing to take calculated risks to reach new potential and go beyond what people would have thought was impossible? Today, my constituents and I will bring you a project to launch a new product that will help New Balance reach new levels of growth than ever before. I'm going to show you why this product launch is the perfect fit for New Balance as we currently stand in the market today. And my peers are going to back this information up with the numbers to prove it. So let's take a look at the athletic footwear industry at the moment. As you can see by this graph, the major players in the industry are Nike, with owning around 35% of market share. A few key players own most of the market because it's a very difficult market to enter. New companies have to build up a lot of capital and expend a lot of investments into foreign relations, manufacturing, and retailing. New Balance is in the mid-tier level of this market share graph. So this gives us an advantage over less established players, but it still means that we have to remain competitive in order to stay afloat. One of the most successful strategies that has been shown to be successful in this market has been innovating new designs for shoes every year. Companies can do this to keep their consumers interested because their demands are constantly changing. Even though this market segment is saturated and concentrated by just a few major players, we have found that there is a market segment that has gone largely ignored by our competitors. And this is the market segment of men ages 12 to 18 in running shoes. And this is what we've decided to launch our new product around. So in order to target this market segment of 12 to 18-year-old male runners, we've decided to take on the athletic endorsement model. And we've decided that this would be the best marketing strategy because of the success of other competitors with celebrity and athletic endorsements. One example of this is a Puma endorsement with Usain Bolt, worth $9 million a year. They've shown incredible success partnering up together, as Usain Bolt's fans have been attracted to his lifestyle and want to take on all the different aspects of it, including the shoes that he wears, driving a lot of demand to Puma. New Balance, on the other hand, is not going to pursue the strategy quite as similar to this because we don't have the resources or influence to tap into the market of men aged 18 to 24, which is what Puma did with Usain Bolt. So rather, we decided to target a smaller market segment that has gone slightly overlooked by our competitors, which is the 12 to 18 male running shoe market. And by doing so, we would need to endorse an athlete that would appeal to this younger market. So our ideal candidate would be someone up and coming and young that these 12 to 18-year-old men can look up to. The running shoe to appeal to this segment would be a mid-tier price, around $190 shoe with high technology and quality. This shoe would require an established factory to be built in Vietnam, worth around $150 million. The project would be said to last for around 6 years. Our most promising candidate is an up-and-coming Olympic athlete, Kirani James. At only age 19, he's had recent success in the 2012 Olympics, winning gold in the 400-meter dash. Since Kirani is from Grenada, this makes him the first non-US competitor to win in this competition in 3 decades. This has amassed him global recognition, and we here think that he will be the next Olympic superstar. By partnering up with Kirani while he's still on the verge of superstardom, New Balance will be able to put their name at the forefront of a story of human success. People are going to resonate with this success story, and as Kirani amasses a fan base, his fans are going to want to sport the different types of products that he wears, and by being endorsed by New Balance, his fan base will become interested in our products, and we may even have opportunities to design new products around Kirani. We should not be afraid to target this new market segment. After all, New Balance has never veered away from innovation in the past. We didn't actually make our first sneaker until 1938. Before that, we were an arch support company. But just like today, we saw an opening in the market that had gone untapped. And this is the perfect time to be doing such innovation, because the athletic footwear industry is actually predicted to grow in upcoming years. The sales in 2011 in the athletic footwear industry were approximately $74.5 billion, and this figure is expected to grow at an average rate annually of 1.8%, making it predicted to be $84.4 billion by 2018. If you look at the chart here, you will see our predicted sales of shoes if we take on this project of endorsing Kirani James. Notice the bump in sales in 2016. This accounts for the Olympics of 2016 if Kirani wins a medal. Keep in mind that we currently have a market cap of around $80 billion, so this project is something that we can certainly afford. I will now pass it on to Ben, who will further break down our predicted figures if we take on this project.
Thank you, Christiana, and I want to thank you guys for giving us the time to go over some of these numbers and the benefits of going through with the Pro Sneaker project. So the first thing that I want to highlight is that top line, the revenues, steadily going up until 2016 and then going down slightly, but still producing net positive cash flows after that. Now, that downtrend is due to stylistic changes that will happen in the preferences of the general population, especially the 12 to 18-year-old market segment over a 6-year project. However, these are conservative numbers, and those numbers can be tweaked by tweaking the style and the colors that we offer with these shoes. Nike has made billions of dollars over the past 20 years issuing out the same silhouettes with different colorways and minor tweaks. The one thing that I do want to highlight for you is how low our cannibalization numbers are, and that the cannibalization disappears after the first 2 years of the project. These numbers together allow us to project positive net cash flows year over year, starting the first year of the project and ending with a large jump going into 2018. The cumulative net cash flow has a payback period, as you can see here, of 5.1 years, a net present value of $13.36 million, and a very above industry average IRR of 12.82%. This will give us a positive cumulative net cash flow coming shortly into the year of 2017. Now, some of this positive cash flow in the last year is due to the $106 million that you saw that we are considering getting back for the factory. Now, I know you're thinking we're not going to sell the factory that we've made in Vietnam after 6 years, but you have to look at that cost as cost savings on the next factory for the next project that we do. Now, due to this project, we are going to have inroads into the country of Vietnam for our production moving forward. We are going to have a factory built there. It is going to allow us to capitalize on that positive IRR and positive net present value from this project to move into a more casual pop culture market that seems to be emerging. It's rumored that later this year, around December, Kanye West is going to partner with Adidas to start producing his Yeezy sneakers. He's moving away from the basketball sneakers that you've seen him do with Nike in the past and towards a more casual line dedicated to cultivating that 18 to 24-year-old market segment. Now, the good thing about the 12 to 18 market segment that we're going after is that this is going to mimic the interests of that 18 to 24. What do middle schoolers and high schoolers want? They want to look older. They want to feel older. They want to mimic what the older generation is doing. So once we have this project, have the positive cash flow coming from this project, we're going to be able to use the inroads we've made into this 12 to 18-year-old market segment and hopefully hold them and return them as our customers as they enter the 18 to 24-year-old market segment. We're going to have penetrated this market. Now, the other positive thing is that once we have this name recognition, we can go after some cheaper endorsement deals and possibly raise our profit margins even more. Social media has been booming over the last 5 years, and we don't see that stopping anytime soon. This is likely going to create an influx of new, lower-cost celebrities that can push our projects, that can create this kind of athleisure brand name that I think is the direction that we are going to end up going. But to do all this, we're going to need to start with doing what we're good at, which is athletic sneaker wear, which is creating a new market segment that we can continue to return to us year after year as they grow older and bringing some money into the company in return.
Thank you, Ben. Now I will go over why Sneaker 2013 is a great option based on the project analysis. As we can see here to my right, the industry cost of capital for consumer discretionary is between 0.12 and 0.13. This shows that based on our project analysis, the Sneaker 2013 assumed cost of capital of 0.11 is much better than the industry average. It is a less risky project and we will have great returns based on the risk that we are putting into it. The net present value of $13.36 million shows that we're going to be making back a very good return, as I will show later, compared to old projects. And by having an assumed cost of capital of 0.11, which is less than the industry average, we will be making a good return and not having to put as much risk and uncertainty into a project. Additionally, a payback period of 5.10 years. The assumed life of the project that we are basing our calculations on is 6 years. Thus, having only 5.10 years means that we will have a good amount of time from when we get the money back until when the project is over. So we will be making the money back within the 6-year lifespan. Additionally, an IRR of 12.82%. This is a high IRR compared to old projects that we have looked at. We will be making back a good amount of return in the future for the amount of money that we're putting in now. Additionally, this is great because the risk is less than the industry average. Additionally, 7.42% of profitability index. For every $1 that we put in today, we'll be making back 7.42%. This is great for New Balance, as it is always good to be going into the industry and making money and establishing ourselves, especially since we are very similar to Nike in the market cap this year, and we have the ability by taking on this new market to become better than them and to succeed and get a more dominant position in the sneaker industry. And finally, the equivalent annual annuity of 3.16. This is a great thing to look at when we're potentially thinking about mutually exclusive projects for the future, and we need to see if this annuity would pay off considering the time value of the money. The equivalent annual annuity would be great to look at if we want to choose a different mutually exclusive project, and we would need to choose the higher one, the one with the higher EAA. As of right now, Sneaker 2013 has the highest equivalent annual annuity to other projects we have seen, and it will be a great, profitable, not as risky project for New Balance. So when determining if Sneaker 2013 is a good option for New Balance, it is important to compare it to a successful project that brought us in lots of revenues in the past. For this analysis, I chose to do Athlete Sneak 2010. This was an athlete sneaker line that we launched a few years back that has produced high margins and very high returns for New Balance. However, by the projections that I have done, Sneaker 2013 is going to be more successful than this old project that we had done. As you can see here on this chart, in every single year, Sneaker 2013 has higher cash flows. By year 6, we are predicted to make over 30% margins in comparison to how we did with Athlete Sneaker 2010. This is very significant because Athlete Sneaker 2010 was a very popular project that brought in lots of revenues and high cash flows for the company. So, if Sneaker 2013 is a bigger, more powerful project, then we will be able to make lots of money and we will be able to go into a market that our competitors have not done. This is very important because the mistake that we made before with Athlete Sneak 2010 is we didn't capitalize on the opportunity at the right moment. We waited until it was a little bit more expensive, till after Nike and Adidas has gone in. As we went over the background, Nike and Adidas own the sneaker market. However, we are a smaller player, but we are still one of the big players. By going into the 12 to 18-year-old age bracket, at the moment that we will, and if we do the Sneaker 2013 project, we will be able to have very high returns because none of our competitors are in this market. Additionally, we will be able to get Karani James before he becomes more expensive. Let's say he wins a medal in 2016 and we didn't take this opportunity. The endorsement deal will no longer be $5 million. It will be $10 million or more, which we are a smaller player. We do not have the capital to be able to sustain this. So it is important that we take this opportunity now because as shown by these projections, it will be more successful than one of our most successful projects. So the projected revenues. We have no way of knowing if the revenue is going to be exactly what we predicted. So to be able to take this into account, I have chosen to predict what happens when the revenues are 5% less or 5% more. Obviously, if they're 5% more, this is great for the company. We will be very successful and it will just be great for New Balance. However, if they're less, it could be hurtful. So it is important that we notice that if the revenues are 5% less than our projections, will it still be positive? Will this project still be worth the investment, the endorsement contracts, and everything that we're putting into being able to do this, like the factory in Vietnam and everything we're trying to do? So as shown by these graphs, in every single year, the revenue is positive. Almost all of them are above $100 million. The only year that is not is 2018, which we explained earlier is because by that time we don't have the power that maybe like the shoe is not as popular anymore, but there's ways around this. And this will be when we're trying to sell off the project. So we still have high revenues in every other year. And the margins aren't that much different than if the revenues were good. So, and if the revenues are 5% more, then obviously this would be great for the company. It would be an amazing thing. But if it's not, we can still survive it and the project will still be worth it as we are still making over $100 million in revenue a year. If revenues are 5% less, it's important to look at the project analysis. Is the project still viable? So we have a payback period of 5.2 years. Yes, this might not be the best, but it is still less than our 6-year lifespan that we are predicting this project will be worth. So by going into it, and if for some reason our revenues don't add up to our projection based on the industry growth or the amount of people that want the shoes, we will still make back the money for the project in the lifespan of the project. Additionally, the net present value is $6.81 million. Yes, again, not the best, but it is still positive. It is still viable. It is still a good project because we will still be making money back. And the IRR of 11.94% is a great margin. It is a great investment opportunity for the company because we will have the capital returns to support this project, even if the revenues are 5% less. as I stated prior, we have no way of knowing how it's going to go, but by being able to see that we will still have a return, even if the project doesn't go 100% according to plan. If something happens in the economy as we are experiencing right now, we have no way of knowing for sure what will happen. But having a positive net present value, a high IRR, and a payback period that is less than the lifespan of the project, we know that even if it doesn't succeed the way we want it to, we will not be losing money. New Balance will still be okay. So if revenues are 5% more, yes, this would be great. This is something that every company wants to see happen. But as you can see here, the payback period is only 5 years. This is not much less than the 5.2 years that we are predicting if the revenue is 5% less than the projected. So regardless if we go up or down, the payback period is in a small margin. There's a small time period of where the payback is going to be in. But in all these cases, we are seeing that we're going to make the money back before the 6-year lifespan of the project, which is highly important when we're considering if Sneakers 2013 is viable for New Balance. Additionally, the net present value of $23.13 million. This is a great net present value, and if we can be able to capitalize on this and be able to get this opportunity and get this amount of money, we will be very well off. And also the IRR of 14.13%. Yes, it's about 2% higher than if it was the revenues are 5% less than our projected, but as I said before, it's not a very big difference that would potentially hurt New Balance. So what happens if Karani doesn't win the medal in the 2016 Olympics? Everything that we have assumed prior is that he wins. We're capitalizing on a winner. We're going to have someone that is going to succeed, and that is going to be why the endorsement is worth it. So I'm assuming that if he doesn't win, our sales will drop by 15% and the endorsement contract is ended. As you can see here, in 2013 and 2014 and 2015 are the same. This is before the Olympics even happens. But if he doesn't win, we see a slight plateau in the 2016 and 2017 revenues, which is not the best. However, we still see a huge increase from 2017 to 2018. We still see an increase and we still see positive revenues. At no point is New Balance losing money, even if he does not win the Olympics, because there is no way of knowing if he does. Additionally, by having Karani James wearing our New Balance shoes at the Olympics and showing it, it will still be on TV. There will still be other athletes that might want the shoes. We will still have a good amount of sales as a result of this. The 12 to 18-year-old bracket, if this is what kids are talking about, if this is what they want, regardless if Karani wins the Olympics or not, it will catch on. People will want this shoe. So thank you for listening to this presentation, and we hope that we convinced you that Sneakers 2013 is a very good project. It can beat out Athlete 2010. It has very high revenues, even if they're not the exact projection that we have. This is a project that will produce great returns for New Balance and overall be a great project for New Balance. Thank you.